Mr. Clarke's back. Just a quick dedication. This song request was from Jack in period 3, so this one goes out to you. Decided to do something a little bit differently today. Obviously, today is a day where many of you were looking forward to potentially going to the prom. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share out some photos of me, kind of make it a light day, hopefully make you laugh a little bit. And I'll include within this little bit of a slideshow here, some prom photos from the late 1980s, and we are studying the 80s here, so you'll see some styles and dress. We'll even start a little bit back in the 70s with some early photos of Mr. Clarke. When you think about any person, it always kind of starts out with the origin story, so you can already see the origins of Mr. Clarke nearly 50 years ago. Little side note, too, on the song that Jack chose. It came out in 1970, so literally it started right before the origin of Mr. Clarke himself. All right, so that's just me, 6 months old there. And as we go through it, we're going to see me age through the years. I don't really grow too much from what you see here, but pretty much I do get quite old as we move forward. Some of the photos are going to be somewhat disturbing. So if you had a really big breakfast or lunch, you might want to wait until you actually watch the photo, at least of the mullet years coming up, which will be one of the great hairstyles, not only of the 1980s, but of all time. And of course, there's nothing that goes along with this. So today's kind of a free day, a day where you can kind of just hopefully get a couple smiles or laughs at some of my photos and, have a good, as best Memorial Day weekend as you can. So there's me at age 3. It's a pretty big bow tie for a guy my size at that point in time. I think I still have that bow tie. Not sure about the sweater vest, though. Age 6, or 5, rather, 1976, age 5. I definitely like stripes. One of the biggest things that's been part of my life, since a very little kid, was being a Dodger fan. That's something I got from my dad. He was a Brooklyn Dodger fan growing up in the 40s and 50s until they moved out to Los Angeles. My dad did not give up on the Dodgers, and since I can remember, I've never given up on the Dodgers either. I have a couple class photos from when I was a kid. Before I tell you where I'm located within the class picture there, this is from first grade in 1977. Kind of take a look at yourself and see if you can pick out Mr. Clarke during this period of time. If you look around, if you go to the front row, second photo from the left, the plaid pants, hands folded nicely. That's me right there. From first grade, I'm not going to do every single year of my class photos, but I'll go into 4th grade here and see if you can figure where I'm located in 4th grade. So if you look around the room, and the white velour sweater there with the shirt kind of popping out here. Once again, a little bit of a Dodger theme here for you. I'm sure most of you are not familiar with the longtime manager of the Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda. He managed the Dodgers for over 20 years, and I met him in 1982. You can see me there wearing my Dodger gear. The Dodgers actually won the World Series back in the 1980s. So 1980s was a good decade as a Dodgers sports fan. Dodgers won the World Series in 1981, which is the shirt I'm wearing there. They also won the World Series in 1988, and they have not won the World Series since 1988. In fact, I was in high school the year in which the Dodgers last won the World Series, so I was about the same age as everybody else. Little league photo here. If you look around, once again, see if you can find me. And if you go to front row, second from the right, hand on the knee, that's me. Here's the first of the prom photos, prom photo 1989. You can see there I got a nice mustache going there. You can also see the white tuxedo. My bow tie and cummerbund was pink to match my date Jamie's dress there. A little bit more close up there. You can see one of the happiest prom dates of all time, Mr. Clarke there with a gigantic smile on my face, getting the carnation pinned on my tuxedo. Notice a nice mustache. Mullet's just starting to come in there at this point in time. Just starting to get the flow on. You could also notice too, like my cheeks are a little bit red. I spent a little bit too much time in the tanning beds leading up to the prom. Yes, I actually did that. There we're getting ready to leave. That's actually my driveway. It's my basketball hoop there. My above ground pool in the backyard. My neighbor running in the background, trying to avoid being in the photo, but she made it. See there, you always want to add some accessories to your prom outfit. And of course, there I have the stylish sunglasses, which I, of course, still have. 1990, I went to actual traditional black tuxedo there, a new prom date. You can notice too, my prom date's taller than me, not that surprising. In the background too, you see my neighbor's house. You see a genuine Astro van from the 1980s. You can see there, Mr. Clarke, always the gentleman, allowing my date to sit in the back seat, of course. We drove, that's my parents' car there, to the prom. And the guy sat up front and the girl sat in the back. Seem a little bit happier to prom 2 than I was for prom 1. The genuine smile. You can actually see the mullet starting to really come in, sitting on the shoulder now as we move a year further into history. There, not a shadow. The mullet there, nice and clean, nice short and tight up on the top. Nice long hair flowing in the back. At this point in time, I'm able to use a ponytail. It's also something that flows, starts to really flow pretty good when I'm running. That's when I was playing baseball. That's where I kind of picked up the name, the super mullet, because it would flow behind me like a cape when I was running, especially when I was stealing bases. Mullet's still going to keep growing as we move forward. What was really good too about the mullet, it was really in style in the 1980s. And the problem for Mr. Clarke was that he kind of kept it straight into the 1990s. So you can see there, now I'm in college, 1991, and I still have the mullet. Right here, you can see it here coming down and starting to curl around there. Montclair State College, where I went to school. 1993, Dan on the far left, Rodney in the center, me to the far right there. And one of the reasons why I included this photograph here was it has in the background the very first car that I owned. 1991, the yellow Hyundai Scoop. Kind of pretty cool car back in the day. I don't know why I picked yellow, I guess to stand out or be a little bit different, I suppose, but I'm not so sure I'd buy a yellow car again. 1995, at this point in time, finished with college, and we got a summer beach house in the summer of 1995. At that point in time, 24. My friend Dave there. We'll see Dave again in other photos. Yes, you can guess that's not my hair, just a little hat there that had the flowing locks that came out of there. It's from the Shore House in 95. So we see Dan from before, Dave from before again. So these are some of my friends. My friend Matt in the center, 1996 wedding. We're all in the wedding party. Some of these friends I had from the time I was like in kindergarten with Dave. Jeff was a friend of mine since 3rd grade. So these were people that I knew for a very long time. Here's a couple photographs from my first 2 years of teaching. My first 2 years of teaching were in a private school, St. Joseph's Elementary School. It's a K through 8 school in North Plainfield. These are my class photos from 1996 on the far right there. That's my homeroom class. The way it worked, you had a homeroom class that you taught 3 subjects, and then you had the rest of the grades 5, 6, 7, and 8 would have me for social studies. So the class on the right there, I had for 3 periods a day. My first year teaching, and then on the second year teaching at that school, I had the class on the left for 3 periods a day. And after teaching 2 years there at St. Joseph's School in North Plainfield, that's when I got hired for my third year teaching Metuchen High School in 1998, and that's where I've been ever since. Here's me in Sydney, Australia, the land down under, August 2001. You'll see a few photographs from Australia, which is probably my most favorite vacation I've ever had in my life. Here's an interesting photo at the Sydney Zoo. It's a photograph of 2 turkeys. Just me there at the Sydney Zoo and some random lady in the background there, kind of photobombing. Dumped the mullet at this point in time, dumped the mustache, and just got the goatee at that point in time. Here we visited a Aboriginal village, and I actually did a boomerang toss, and I tossed it, and it came right back to me. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it, and it hit me in the face. And so you can probably see that's where some of the leftover damage has occurred that you still see today. That's an actual Aboriginal person. He actually demonstrated it. And when I did toss it, in all seriousness, it did curve and come back. Didn't necessarily land back in my hand. It kind of landed out in the ground out here. But it was one of the better tosses, I would say, amongst the people who were on the tour who got a chance to throw. My natural athleticism kind of came out there. There's me sitting in a normal-sized chair in Mystic, Connecticut in 2004. I finally made it out to Dodger Stadium in 2008. In the background, you see some people behind me. We actually sat in row 4 at this game. That's Pat Sajak. He's the host of Wheel of Fortune. He was seated in row 1. For the really big baseball fans, they may have heard of the wealthiest and most significant baseball agent, Scott Boras. He's in the dark blue shirt there. He was also seated in row 1 near Pat Sajak. It's me at Busch Gardens. It's my favorite show that I attended at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. It's probably the most favorite family spot that we've had for our vacations over the years. I think we've been there 7 times. It's got the colonial Williamsburg and everything there, the villages and the historical stuff that I really enjoy. And actually my kids kind of like it too. We've been to like the Jamestown settlements and everything that you've kind of learned about that period of time in history. And the show that we always see is Celtic Fire. And we always have a little photo op. I think I have about 7 of these photographs here where we kind of look at my children as they kind of get older over the years. In the far background to the left there is the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. It actually is a bridge that alternates between a bridge and a tunnel. So you'll go and then it'll kind of go down over here and disappear. And then it turns into a tunnel. You go through the tunnel because they have a lot of the naval ships that come out of particularly Newport and parts of Virginia. And then gives the ships the opportunity to clearly go through without any obstacles with the bridge. It's about 25 miles in length, and it's around $25 to go over the bridge and through the tunnel. So my son there, you can see he's significantly shorter than me. Today, he's actually taller than me. So times have changed quite a bit in 5 years from my son, Logan. That's my wife. In 2017, we did a little visit to Washington, D.C., and the cherry blossoms in the background there. It's kind of like a traditional photo op you have when you're in D.C. around that time. One of our first family vacations that we had with my now wife and my stepdaughter, Kaya. One of my best days I had with my kids is we went to a Dodgers-Phillies game. Actually, we went to 2 games. They had a game on a Wednesday night at 7, and we actually got a hotel in Philadelphia. And then we checked out of the hotel in the morning, and then they had a 1 p.m. game the next day on Thursday. So we went to a night game the night before and then a day game the next day. So we saw 2 games in the span of, I guess, like 15 hours or so. So it's kind of a really nice time. It's for my wedding, June 30th, 2018. My stepdaughter, Kaya, Mandy, my wife, me, Logan, and Lindsay. You can see Logan's getting a little taller now. This is Nevada, July 2019. Me, my wife, Maria, my brother's wife, and my brother Kevin. You can see my brother's significantly taller than me. Once again, not a surprise. You can also see this is one of my favorite shirts. This is a Grand Canyon in 2019. And Mr. Clarke is out.